like 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. So before I was talking about different modes that we use in configuration, I thought about user mode, privilege mode, and global mode. Now I've thought made mention of a user mode that we use it for troubleshooting and privilege mode. We do save there and display settings. For instance, now if I want to see the settings on the network device, I go to privilege mode. This is privilege mode. Now, if you want to see your settings, so it's okay now. You can stop our videos if you want to. Okay. Now, if thank you for that. Now, if you want to, sorry, if you want to see the settings on your system, your network device, you go to privilege mode. These are very specific. You go to privilege mode, and on privilege mode, how do you see your settings? You type show running configuration. Look at it as it is. Show running config. This is the command. If you want to see the settings or configuration already made on your network device, be it router or be it switch, this is what you type, and you do it on the privilege mode. As soon as I press enter, you see these are the configuration already made on the router. These are configuration, but I don't think there's any configuration made yet.
Not seeing it. Oh. We are not seeing it.
Oh,
We
sorry
are not
about
seeing
that.
it.
Sorry. Okay. Like I said before, if you want to see any settings done on the network device, you go to privilege mode. And how do you go to privilege mode? I am on user mode now. I just type enable. I am on privilege mode right
Enable.
now. So if I want to see the on settings already configured on the network device, I just say show running configuration. So this is the command to display the configuration on your network device. Now I want to make clarify you on something too. Now we have what we call running configuration and startup configuration. Now, if I do any configuration, if I run any configuration on this router, it is it stays on the RAM. I told us before that router has um, two memories. It has RAM and NVRAM. And NVRAM, which is the non-volatile RAM, can be likened to be the hard disk of the RAM. That's where your saving, when you save any configuration, that's where it stays. But if I'm configuring anything on the router now, it stays on the RAM. That means if I restart the router, everything wipes out. Now, if I don't want everything to wipe out, I need to save it on the NVRAM. And the configuration on the NVRAM is referred to as startup configuration. That's this. Startup. Configuration on NVRAM is startup configuration. That is the configuration that the router boots up with when it is booting. When your router boots, it boots from the NVRAM. You understand? So that's the configuration. It boots from the startup configuration. So if I want to see what is on the startup, I say show startup configuration. I've not I'll talk about more about this. Why is displaying this? Now, but if I want to see what is actually running on the RAM, what is actually the configuration on the RAM, I say show running configuration. So this is what is on the RAM right now. This is what is actually on the RAM. Then if I want to save, if I do any configuration, let's assume, let's configure, um, let's say, um, if I'm going to configure anything, I have to go to configure terminal. I have to go to global mode. I'm on global mode right now. So let's assume I want to configure something on interface giga 0/0/0. For instance, let's assume I'm giving it like a IP address. I'll talk about this later on. IP address of 192.168.1.1, 255.255.255.0. I say no shutdown. Okay, I've configured something on an interface called Giga Ethernet 0/0 and all of that. Now, if I want to see what I have already done on the RAM, that's on my running configuration, I have to go to my privilege mode. This privilege mode, and I say show running configuration. If I press enter, more, you see that configuration I did. Look at it here. I give it IP address as this. Now, that's how to show what is actually happening on the RAM. If I want to save my work, like this configuration, I want to save it to stay on the NVRAM. The command is write. As you can see, I've typed it, write saves. Or you say copy running configuration startup. So this is the command to save. Startup configuration. Copy. That it means that you're copying from the RAM. You know, this one stays on the RAM to the NVRAM. Copy running config, startup config. So I'm copying from the RAM to the NVRAM. And I say enter. It now asks you the file name. If you want to give a file name, fine. I can just press enter. It has saved. So if I want to say show, if I want to see what is on the startup now, startup, show startup configuration. I press enter. This is what is already on the startup because I've already saved my running configuration to startup. So that is what is on the startup. And of course, it's the same thing that is still on the uh, RAM because the running configuration is the same as startup right now because I just saved my running configuration to startup. So it's still on the RAM. So if I say show the, it's still going to show me what is on the RAM. So now I said before that privilege mode, we use it to do what? To save and to display settings. I've thought about saving. Saving is either you say write or you say copy running config, startup config. I can as well save to my a server, like TFT server. If I want to save to TFT server, I say copy. Either you're copying running or startup config to TFTP server. It's not asking you address of the server. I'll talk about this one later on. So this is how I've thought about three ways to save. One, you type either you say write. Write means the same thing as copy running startup config. Write is the same thing as so is either you say copy running to startup. So this is how to save. Either you type this or you type write. I can still save to my TFTP server if you want to. So this is all about saving and displaying. Then I now said that all your configurations are done where? On the global mode. Right now, which mode I am on now? I am on the privilege mode. So let me go to global mode. Global mode is configure terminal. I press this enter now. I'm on global mode right now. So this is where I can configure anything. If I say configure anything, this is where you're supposed to go to configure, do any configuration. Now coming to the interface mode. If, like I said, router has so many interfaces, you can't just uh, decide to configure interface without pointing to a particular interface. Like if you if I hover around this router now, if I hover around this router, it has so many interfaces. Gigabit Ethernet 000, Gigabit Ethernet 001, Gigabit Ethernet 002, and other interfaces. So which one in particular do I want to configure? The one I want to configure is already configured. It's up now. Now, if I want to go to interface, I'll show you how to go to interface. And now type interface, the name of the interface, Giga Ethernet, maybe 0/0/ maybe 1 this time around. If I enter, have you seen that I'm on interface mode? And what can you do on interface mode? Most of the times, you you put IP address in the majorly at your level now. You put IP address. Let's assume that I have like two networks as this. As this, I have two networks. Uh, I have
Hello,
two
sir.
net. Sir?
I think the IP address you put for that gigabit Ethernet 000 is for that switch 0.
Yes, for that network, yes, switch 0.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Is why it's now up.
that's why it's up. And you
Because I
should
discovered that before you configure that interface,
mm,
the sign
was showing red.
was showing something red.
Yes, exactly. It's true.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, from what you just said, switches, all the ports on the switches can, let me be sure that you are seeing the screen. All the ports on the switch, as soon as you connect, they come up on their own. Switch ports get powers on it. As soon as you connect anything, it gets powers on it. But it's not like that in a router. Router, you have to go and give a command to the interface to come up. Like now, you see that this port now is red. That means it is shut down. The router side is shut down, so there's no connection to the switch. So until I have to, if I'm configuring a router, I have to intentionally go in and empower it and power it up. And how do I power it up? The interface is what? Gigabit Ethernet 0001. So I go to that interface. I'm already there. Interface 001. Look at if I say, if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, my CLI?
We are not seeing the configuration screen. We are not seeing the CLI.
Okay. Okay. Now if I say
Okay.
no, if you want to put it on, you say no shutdown. No shutdown. If I say put that, you see that it's giving me signal that it is up now. If you now go and check, now you see that that interface will now start coming up now. Can you see it now? So it's still on the same interface, still on the same CLI that you can now give IP address. IP address to IP address to that interface. So I'm giving IP address as maybe 192.168.2.1.255. The subnet mask 255.255.0. If I want to shut it down, I say shut down. If I say no shutdown, that means opposite of it. Now on the switches on their own powers up immediately as soon as you plug, except administrator can intentionally shut it down. So if I want to shut down a particular port on the switch or interface, I will select that interface and say shut down. It will shut down. For instance, maybe I'm working on a particular organization whereby there's someone that I don't want the person to have access to the internet or to the network. And I know the port the person is connected to the switch. I just open that switch and say shut down. Thus, I open the interface, that particular interface, and I say shut down. That interface will shut down. Like for instance, if I want to shut down this interface is on fast Ethernet 0/2. Okay, if I want to shut it down, just open the CLI of the switch, CLI of the switch, and go to this is user mode. I'll go to first privilege mode. then this is global mode. Then the interface is a fast Ethernet 0/2. If I say shutdown, that interface will shut down. So if you check the thing, you see that it is shut down now. So this person will not have access to it. I just shut the person down. So that's just it. So I want to enable the person back. I just go back and say no shutdown. The person will come up again. See that the switch is up now. The link is up. So if you want to do anything on a particular interface, you have to go to that interface. And how do you go to interface mode? This is the stages. So after user mode, privilege mode comes. After that, interface mode comes. I should know what you do in each of the interfaces. Oh, my battery. So summary, what I treated was initial configuration. And of course, when you type enable on the privilege on the user mode, you enter privilege mode. If you type this, you enter global mode. Of course, I told you about this. Use this one to save. Erase startup is to wipe out. I have to come back. Oh, I have to change. Come back.